In September 2009 at La Monnaie in Brussels, Handel's opera Semele was performed in commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the composer's death. This production was the dream of Lady Linda Wong Davis of the KT Wong Foundation. Handel Semele emerged as the ultimate operatic answer to her vision of bringing great Baroque music to the land of her ancestors. In October 2010, in Beijing, that dream becomes a reality. The story of Semele is drawn from classical Greek mythology, Ovid's Metamorphoses, but it contains the perfect ethereal story to bring to China, itself a country hardly bereft of a rich tradition of errant gods and goddesses, drawn from its own pantheon of deities. The story plays upon the confusion and consequences brought about by passion, jealousy, and burning desire, and the blurring of reality with dreams. It resonates perfectly with the greater courtship that China and the rest of the world are now avidly involved in with each other. So how is Baroque music actually defined? Baroque is a style of European classical music from about 1600 to 1750, following the Renaissance period and preceding the classical era.
Well, Handel was very famous, and not only in London, but he was also performed in Germany through Telemann. Telemann was actually conducting Handel in Germany, so many people interested in his music. Semele is interesting because it's a story which is valid for every time. Actually, it still speaks to us now. So it's a story of a young lady dreaming to be somebody else, and probably going up to the god level. So she dreams to be a goddess herself, and she will die for that.
Zhang Huan has brilliantly connected the ancient and the modern, the European and the Chinese. He explains.
So our version of Semele has two separate storylines that are parallel but also at the same time they are intertwined. One is Handel's music, where the story has its origins in an ancient Greek myth, and this is merged together with the life story of Jin Mei as it actually happened in the ancestral temple.
Handel came to live in London to write his operas in 1712. His father had always wanted him to be a lawyer, but he found composing operas and later oratorio to be his true passion.
He had to create something else, and his idea was to write in English and change his style, and so he created oratorio, and it's how Semele was born.
Handel was a truly international artist as well as being an entrepreneur, creating his works to please audiences that flocked to see his works. Semele has been recreated using these same attributes. Zhang Huan, China's foremost contemporary artist, his choreographer Sujet, partnered by one of the great modern-day Baroque conductors, Christophe Rousset, who with his orchestra Les Talents Lyriques is from France, with soloists from England, Australia, America and China, a chorus of English, French and German singers in the Belgian Opera House of La Monnaie. So it's international and entrepreneurial, as the Director General of La Monnaie in Brussels made this its first co-production collaboration with an external organization, the KT Wong Foundation.
So that's actually where the idea was born, and I think during the first meeting with Linda Davis, we actually decided to go with it. So it was very convincing, and because I think all the puzzle pieces had already been sort of put in the right place by people who we trust.
You know, you have to develop, you know, the countries develop, the music's develop, everything you have to forward. That's why I think that's why I think this new things Zhang Huan put in his art to this opera. I think it's fascinating, and I think it's going to be great. You know, it compared with the cliche things, this is absolutely new environment for the public. I think their eyes will be, there's so many surprises. This is great.
Once the idea had been created, work started in Zhang's studio in Shanghai, workshopping the piece with his staff under the canopy of the temple that was to form the centerpiece of the production. In the freezing days of a Shanghai winter, stage directors, lighting directors, translators, costumier, musicians and singers joined the process of creating this masterpiece, infusing the work of Handel with Chinese tradition, imagery and culture. International collaboration and cultural exchange is a two-way street. The KT Wong Foundation's belief in creative encounters that challenge all parties involved guarantees a different outcome, a genuinely new work of art. And the artistic relationship between East and West will have been irrevocably altered as a result of this Semele.
The foundation was inspired by my father, Dr. KT Wong, who was a well-known Malaysian Chinese businessman. His great loves, apart from business, was always Western classical music and gardens, and particularly, of course, China. And I think that somehow or other that has seeped into some of his children. And so I'd like to think that, you know, a few years ago we decided we would form a foundation in memory of him, and to pursue the areas of interest which are so dear to his heart, which obviously are also very dear to mine as well. He was not a great fan of Handel, I have to tell you. More Verdi or Puccini. In our small way, we are hoping to achieve this purpose through initiating, creating, enabling, and championing new Chinese talent and energy, harnessing that, and then with our knowledge, you know, in the West, to try and find the right partners, to find the right sort of projects, to put the three together, and to give them guidance along the way so that we come up with something new, like Zhang Huan's Semele. This opera project would really also provide a platform for the foundation, the KT Wong Foundation's work, to highlight Chinese talent. Every shape, form, you know, and identity of Chinese talent. So in terms of the singers, it's not Baroque music, it's practically unknown in China. So this would be a first. We did manage to find one or two singers who knew how to sing Baroque, but they're really very far and few between.
The foundation believes that educating a Chinese audience about the Baroque is all part of the vision, the dream. For Lady Davis, it's not enough to simply perform the work. It's about building a passion and love in a new audience through collaboration and the sharing of cultural heritage, for her great passion and love of Baroque music.
Loved it. Fantastic. Could you do better?
It's amazing. I love the set because the lighting is fabulous. It's so simple, yet it's magnificent.
And so this truly international co-production heads for Beijing on October the 24th, 2010.
I think this is multicultural. It's combination showing on the same stage. It's really amazing.
It is a production that will make history as it becomes the first Baroque opera by Handel to be directed by a Chinese artist and performed in China.